All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio with Ostgard in the house again this week. And when we left off, obviously, we were talking about the events leading up to the incident up in Hendersonville with HVW and Viper. And you were about to talk about what led to that particular match, and you said that he had called you and you were going to go up and put him over.
Yeah, I mean, I already put him over once, so I told before that I would put him, I'm sorry, he put me over, so I told him I'd put him over whenever he wanted me to. That was kind of like how wrestling, I think, should be.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, we'll come up, we'll do this on Regal Wars 2 or whatever he called it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And everything seemed fine. You know, I've never really, after we initially had a Regal Wars match, he was all like, man, this is awesome, man, Drew, this great crowd. I'm like, where's my pay?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to Applebee's, man. Buy me dinner. I'm like, what? No, I'm
buy you a drink or something.
I'll buy you a water. You know. Anyway, so I told him I'd come up, and I remember I came up the day of the show, and everything seemed fine. You know, Gary's just Gary, and I don't have any problem with the guy. We made this little pre-video or pre-match video that was really good.
Yeah. Yep.
And everything was great. And I remember we went in the back, and we came up with this whole match that made him look good. He was going to put me through a table. He was going to throw me out, give me like some kind of move on the outside, throw me out of the ring from the top rope to the outside of the floor. I was going to take a bump. I was going to do all this stuff for this guy, you know, to make him look good, you know?
Right.
And I remember we started the match, and he tried to come up with some excuse later on that I rung his bell with the DDT. But I'm telling you, man, I'm 187, 90 pounds, and this guy's, what, like 260? Do you think I'm going to throw this guy up in the air that high to give him a DDT? Yeah. Highly unlikely, because Gary can bump his butt off, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there ain't no way, but he tried to use that as an excuse. And what happened was, at the beginning, he hit me with this chair real hard in the head and just busted my head open. Then
it was legit. I mean, it was.
I don't like. Well, I'm not a pansy, so he can just go ahead and whack away. You know, I'd rather it look real than look fake.
But you got hard way busted open.
Oh, I mean, the side of the head, I don't mind. I mean, he hit me real hard in the chair, so I'm like, whatever. You know, that's how wrestling is. You just get beat up.
Right.
So then I remember he suplexed me on some stairs. You ever got suplexed on some stairs, Ricky?
Absolutely.
Really? Or powerbomb anybody on stairs?
Never.
Nobody's ever been able to get you up.
I've taken a big backdrop on the concrete plenty of times.
Is that back in 1984 when you wrestled for
May
class?
May have been.
Okay, whatever. So anyway, so he's giving me all these bumps and stuff, and then it was time to take a little cut off. So he was going to whip me into the garage door of his building. So he went to whip me, and I reversed him. When he came back, I told him I was going to give him a spin kick. But when I came up with my leg, my arm followed my leg, and kind of my forearm kind of smacked him in the head.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, as I sat on the ground next to him, it was like 5 minutes later. So apparently, when on the video I saw it, he just runs up and just boots me right in the face when I'm bent down. He tries to say, "Oh man, it's years of frustration, man." No, that's not really what it is. The thing is, he can't take pain. Mm-hmm. You know, just like that Jesse match I was telling you about. He doesn't want to take the pain, but he wants to be, I'm hardcore, this and that. No, man, if that's wrestling. You're going to get beat up in wrestling. You're going to get busted up in wrestling.
Sure.
You know, I mean, look at my finger. I got broken hand, broken finger, my teeth knocked out, my nose has been broke. That stuff happens when you wrestle. You can't sit there and be like, cry about it.
So just to back up a little bit, the actual event, you were down on your knees.
He ran up pretty much field goal kicked my face.
And he ran up and kicked you full on in the face.
Yeah, right in my mouth.
Okay, and what were your injuries behind that? What injuries did you have?
Yeah, well, I was knocked out, and I don't barely remember anything after that. It turns out my teeth were knocked out, my nose is broken, my orbital bone was cracked, I had a concussion, and I was bleeding everywhere.
So, and he said it was just because of years of frustration.
He tried. He's just making an excuse. That's what he said. You know, I remember we went to the back, and I was just kind of out of it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, why you calling? What'd you do that for, man?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, dude. What are you mad at me for, man? You just hit me in the face." You know?
Yeah, right.
But I remember after he's like, "Man, I don't want my locker room to be all upset, man. Could you just come in there and we'll say the accidents happened, man, and not to get discouraged, man. And I don't want my boys." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't like, but there's a part of me that Susan really instilled a lot into me about you got to protect what you're doing. You got to make it seem this and that. You just got to keep. Wrestling's always supposed to be like a family. You know, it doesn't matter what happens between wrestlers. You always got to treat each other like family.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have trust in the ring, you have nothing.
Absolutely. Well,
you're right. That's why if guys don't respect each other in the ring, you're not going to have a good match.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, whatever. I was like, yeah, accidents happen, whatever. And I went to the hospital. And I remember Gary came to the hospital because another wrestler he had, I think named Sinai, was in there getting stitched up for some boo-boo. And I remember my girlfriend was there at the time, and he was sitting there just looking at her chest, just staring at her boobs. Man, Oscar, and he's putting himself over. Man, I'm sorry, man, blah, 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 blah. And he gave me this huge apology, you know, and I was like, you know what, that's messed up what you did. I told him you had to eat it. I'm like, when people get on your case, you have to take it, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I mean, it's wrestling, shit happens. I don't appreciate it, you know, but whatever. And I remember he was like, the next thing I know, he's going on his show being like, man, I'll kick people in the face, man. I'm hardcore, this, and that. You know, it's like, man, are you serious?
Yeah.
This is something you might want to be like, oh, come on, that wasn't very cool.
Yeah, right.
Come on, you know, but no, he was up bragging about it. And I'm like, this dude's, whatever. He's a wimp.
So what came of did you guys ever talk after that, or was
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with Gary. He called me and was like, man, I'm real sorry and stuff. And I remember Bill Hazelwood, it actually turned out to be, called the law enforcement about it. So they called me and they're like, do you want to press charges? And there's part of me that could have been like everybody else, be like, yeah, screw him, man.
Yeah.
But Gary's got a child, he's got kids, and he's got a wife, and he's got a job, and he's got a family. And unlike some people around here, you can't mess with people's families. It would be like he has a child with.
Yeah, with problems, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't sit there and put that kid at a disadvantage just to settle a gripe, like just I'm going to get him back, So I was like, that isn't the right thing to do. Yeah. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that because stuff happens in wrestling. I didn't appreciate it, but I put them before Gary because, I had no good feelings for Gary.
Well,
but then Gary would call me and I'm like, whatever.
Now, I got to say, it's very big of you to do, and a lot of guys in the same position would have gone a whole different direction with that. So I give you props for doing that. I don't know how I would have handled that situation, but that's a story for another day. But we're going to move on from that, and I'm glad you came out of it okay. We got a few more minutes here, and you said and we got Boomer still in the house here, so we're going to bring him back in a little bit.
Loitering.
Yeah, exactly.
Loitering for a spot.
Yeah, you said you wanted to talk about some current events in wrestling and your ideas on things. So what?
No, I thought you said you want to do like some kind of current events thing. I thought that was going to be a separate thing.
Yeah, well, it's the end of the interview here. So
sucking some time out of it.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to bring some more time out of it.
I don't know, let's go. Let's do this.
Right.
Who we got in the studio here? We got Boomer. Boomer, say hey.
All right.
All right, and we got Ricky Regal, who shaved his goatee.
That's right. Had to go.
And we got Brian Johnson in the house. All right, let's do this. What are we doing?
All right,
I'm pumped.
Well, tell us what you got. Tell us what you want to talk about.
No, you're the interviewer.
Okay, what's your idea on TNA? Tell us to start there.
They're throwing everything at the wall they can to see what sticks.
You watched the big ECW event.
I did watch it. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't pay-per-view worthy. Yeah. I think that's like a one-time every now and then thing. They can't keep doing that.
Well, I think ECW has pretty much run its course, and there's only so many times you can resurrect that
those guys
corpse.
are so old now. I mean,
yeah, that Raven looks like
oh
walking
god, that
death,
match killed
right?
the crowd.
Yeah.
The Tommy Dreamer Raven match was just so bad, it just killed the crowd. The best match was a 3-man. I guess it was like, who was it in the 3-way? Rhino and Spike Dudley and Al Snow.
Send you a text. Oh,
this is great! Oh my god, adios míos.
No. So do you keep up with the product on TV? The TNA stuff?
Actually, I just happen to watch TNA lately, just because I just happen to be home at the time. Usually, I don't watch wrestling. I don't watch WWF at all.
So how are we going to talk about current events in wrestling? You don't even watch TV.
Do word association.
Let's do word association. Let's do it.
You local guy? You want to do local guys or national
Whatever
guys?
you want. Local. Why don't local? Do it.
Boomer Payne.
Guy stalls. Good God. Could you please do some work? He stalls and gets blown up.
Chief Jay Eagle.
I love Jay. Love him to death. Jay's great. Jay's awesome. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Viper.
He's Gary. He's like what's that guy? Harry Carey from the Saturday Night Live. He's got the house blast.
Abel Adams.
Love Abel. Sometimes takes himself too seriously.
Will Snap.
Retired.
You got one, Charlie?
Yeah, Ricky Regal.
Who?
Ricky Regal needs to come out of retirement and work with Brody a little bit. WCW Tag Team Champion.
I got to bring.
Just admit when it happened.
Got to bring that.
I heard you beat Lenny and Lodi.
Got to bring that tag championship belt back out there. What about? Let's see. Who are some of those other guys up at Boomer? You got some names for him?
Perry Chaos.
Isn't he dead? Duct tape, wrist tape. That's all I gotta say about that guy.
Cruiser Lewis.
He's okay.
Jimmy Kendrick.
Can pick up rocks.
Jimmy Kendrick. Who else you got?
You tell me, man. This is the worst interview ever.
I don't know. I don't hang
Can we
out
interview
with
Regal? Can we after this? Can we interview Ricky?
I don't
Regal?
hang out with those guys at APW.
hang out
Some of the
anywhere.
names that he throws out there,
Eric
I would never want to even be
Timmy
in the same
Rumble, Morbid
room
Hammer,
with.
Greg, Anton did well, got himself together. Now just residing at Eagles permanently.
What about Chris Fix?
I like Chris Fix. He's a nice kid.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with Chris Fix when he was around.
Hi, Ryan. He always does hey man all the time.
Yeah.
Tell him to give Rob Van Dam singlet back to him.
How much time we got, Charlie?
I think we're about out. Yeah, we got about 30 seconds.
All right. Well, again, Ostgard, it was great having you in. I'm glad you got your side of the story out there
Ricky Regal.
about the big incident in HVW and was able to talk about that really quick in the
On
last
the
couple
AM
seconds.
dial.
Last couple seconds we got here. What is your website presence? Are you on the
I
internet
don't
at
have
all?
a website. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have a MySpace and none of that stuff.
You're too big for the internet.
Too big for the internet, dang it. This can't contain my superstar status. See me at NCW. See me at Eagles.
All right.
See me around.
So Ostgard will be at NCW. He'll be at Eagles. He'll be around. And if you
See
go,
me in Laurinburg, North Carolina, where I live.
there you go.
Wandering around aimlessly in the
Go to North Carolina and just look for him in the streets.
like, I'm a homeless vagrant.
All right.
Help me.
All right.
Give money.
Thanks a lot, Ostgard. Appreciate you coming in. And we'll be right back. More Inside Wrestling Radio coming up next.